right, welcome everybody to Sunday morning's gentle. I almost said slow flow, then you don't have a heart attack. All right, it's gentle. We're gonna start on our back today. Everybody in the studio is already here. Take your first few moments here just to arrive. Bring your focus to your breath. Let it push all your other distractions to the background. Pushes all those distractions to the background, you become just fully focused on your mat, your practice. Become fully present to your mat, your practice. Feel like you've got that full focus on your breath. And you can add that element of control to your breath. Just start to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Let your breaths become longer. Slower, deeper. As you inhale, you're pulling the breath all the way down into your belly. And as you exhale, you're pushing it all the way out. Just gonna let us move here, just with one breath, one movement. We're ready to start moving here. We're going to start with some TBEs. That means total body extension, right? You're laying on your back. You're just going to hug your knees into your chest. Here. And if you want to, right, you can lift your head and shoulders up off the mat, drive your forehead toward your knees. Maybe let your tailbone lift up off the mat to engage your core. Or maybe you keep it more relaxed and you let your head and shoulders stay down. Keep your tailbone pressed to the mat. Up to you. Right now from here, you're going to extend your legs long and take your arms overhead. Now, as we do this, right, because it's total body extension, you can make it more by letting your heels hover off the mat, letting your hands hover off the mat, Or you can make it more of a stretch, let your heels come to the ground, let the back of your hands come to the ground, point your toes and reach your fingertips. So again, whether you make it active or you make it more relaxed, that's up to you, right? But we're gonna do that 3 or 4 more times here. So as you inhale, hug everything in. As you exhale, extend everything long. Inhale, hug it all in. Exhale, extend it long. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, hug it in. Exhale, extend it long. Inhale, hug it in. Exhale, extend everything long. Now this time, as you inhale, you're gonna hug your knees into your chest. But now as we exhale here, you're just gonna drop your knees over to the right. Take your arms up to a T. So you're just doing that basic supine twist. And we're gonna flow here, right? As you inhale, pull your knees back up to center. And then as you exhale, let your knees drop to the left. So you're looking to the right, your knees are to the left, keeping your shoulders anchored. So then a couple more times. Inhale, bring your knees to center. Exhale, drop them to the right. Inhale, bring them to center. Exhale, drop them to the left. Let's just do it one more time each way. Pull your knees up to center. Drop them to the right. Bring them up to center. Drop them to the left. And then bring your knees up to center here. Now you're going to hug them into your chest. Take your hands to the crease of your knees. And then you're just going to rock up into a seated position, into easy sit, right? So it doesn't matter which leg you bring in front, right? Because we're going to do both legs eventually. Right, so take your more comfortable leg up in front first, and then as you inhale, just lift your hands up to the sky and lengthen out your spine. As you exhale, drop your right hand to your right side, right by your right hand, and just reach that left hand up and over. Open up the side body. Come back to center here, and then drop your left hand. Reach your right hand up and over. Come back to center here, and now this time you're going to turn your palms towards the front of the room. Drop your hands just in front of your shins and walk as far forward as you can, keeping your hips on the ground, right? So you're not trying to lift your hips up, but you're not rounding your back here. Don't tuck your chin to your chest. Just let your chest come as far forward as it can. Maybe you can drop your elbows. Maybe you can barely get your hands in front of your shins. It's all good. I want you to feel that pull in your hips. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to slowly walk it back up. Now as you walk all the way up here, switch out your legs, bring your awkward leg in front, right? It might be your right, it might be your left. It's just the leg that your body didn't naturally want to put in front first, right? So it feels a little bit more awkward here. That's why I call it the awkward leg, right? We're just going to take a little twist here. So you're going to sweep your hands up to the sky. We're going to go to the right first, just like we did last time. Drop your right hand all the way back behind you this time, right? So your fingertips are down with the mat back behind your right hip. Take your left hand outside your right knee and look over your right shoulder. Untwist here, take your hands up to the sky, and now we're going to twist to the left. Drop that left hand back behind you, take your right hand outside your left knee, look over your left shoulder. Bring everything back up to center, turn your palms towards the front of the room, and then just drop your hands down in front of your shins here, and walk as far forward as you can. Keep your hips on the ground. So it might feel a little tighter on this side. Upward hip, right? But also we're getting a little warmer, so maybe it is getting a little bit looser. All right, now walk everything back up here, right? And now we're going to make our way into tabletop. Tabletop is hands and knees pose. So if you want to, you can roll right over your knees, just come to tabletop. If you need to, unwind your legs first, and then come around. Right, you want your shoulders right over your wrists, your hips right over your knees. Your hands are shoulder width distance apart, your knees are hip width distance apart. We're just going to take a couple cat-cows here to get our body and breath in perfect sync. So as you inhale, you're going to lift your chin up to the sky, tuck your tailbone under, let your belly drop, that's cow. And then as you exhale, tuck your chin to your chest, round out your back, hollow out your armpits, that's cat. So keep moving here. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. You don't have to be going as fast or as slow as me. You don't have to be going as fast or as slow as anybody else here. We're just trying to find that place where we start to move with one breath, one movement. So you want to find the rhythm of your own breath and match your movements to it. So take a few more rounds here. And then eventually we're going to meet back in neutral tabletop. All right, now as we come to neutral tabletop here, now you're going to tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. Come in to your first down dog of the morning. All right, so now your fingers are spread wide like starfish. You put your pointer finger at the front of the mat. You let your head drop between your shoulder blades, pushing your belly towards your upper thighs. You can add some movement here if you want to. Bend one knee, then the other. Press that opposite heel towards the ground. We call that walking the dog. Just a nice stretch in the opposite calf. Maybe you want to sway your hips from side to side. Maybe you'd rather just stay still. It's all good. Just take this time, make sure you check in with your body. Feel every part of your body in down dog. So pay attention here. Notice what's going on with your body. Make sure you're listening to your body. You're doing what it needs as we go through the rest of practice. All right, now from here, we're going to put a slight bend in the knees. Just look between your thumbs. Bring your feet forward to your hands. So we'll come into a forward fold here. So in forward fold, you want your belly to be touching your thighs. Your head's hanging heavy and long. Bend your knees as much as you need to here to get your belly to touch your thighs. You don't have to be straight-legged. Shake your head yes, shake your head no. Make sure there's no creases in the back of your neck. As you inhale next, we're going to take a half lift into monkey. Just pull your shoulders even with your hips. So now your back is nice and flat. The crown of your head is towards the front of the room. For most of us, our hands are on our shins in monkey. Right? If your arms are really long, maybe your fingertips are touching the ground. Maybe your hands are on your knees or your thighs. It's all good. Right? As you exhale, bring yourself back to forward fold. Right? Let your belly come to your thighs. Bend your knees if you need to. Let the crown of your head go all the way towards the ground. And this time, as you inhale, you're going to take a big reverse swan dive. Come all the way up to standing. Right now, from here, you're just going to grab a hold of your left wrist with your right hand and pull it towards the right side of the room. Just a side bend. Just adding that little extra oomph by pulling on the wrist. If you'd rather just let your right hand fall down to your right side, that's an option. Right. As you inhale, come back to center. As we exhale, we're going to go the other way. Grab your right wrist with your left hand, pull it to the left. You're going to keep your hips square towards the front of the room. If you want to drop your left hand down, you can do that. Now inhale, bring your hands back up to center. This time as we exhale, we're going to drop into cactus arms. So bend your elbows. Bring your elbows even with your shoulders. You inhale, open up your chest, pull your shoulder blades together. And then exhale, push your hips forward, take your chest and your gaze up. Inhale, stand tall, take your arms overhead. And then as you exhale, swan dive all the way back down. Into forward fold, belly to thighs, come the head to the mat. Now, from here, you're going to take your left hand, plant it on the mat right in front of your feet. If you want to use a block here, put a block underneath your hands, you can, underneath your left hand. You're going to take your right hand up to the side, so you're twisting to the right. As you do that, press your right leg straight. Maybe put a little bend in your left knee, right? So you feel that stretch go up through your right leg. As you exhale here, let that right hand come down, place it on the mat or on the block. Take your right hand, or turn your left hand up to the sky. Now you're pressing that left leg straight, putting a little bend in your right knee. From there, let your right hand or left hand come back down, come back to forward fold. All right, so that's our whole sun salutation. We just moved our spine in all the different directions. We're going to do it twice more. As you guys have seen it, we'll move a little faster and move it with our breath. All right, so we're going to inhale, take a half lift to monkey. Shoulders even with the hips. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Come up to standing. Exhale, grab the left wrist to the right hand. Pull to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Switch out your hands. Pull to the left. Back to center here. Drop it in cactus arms. As you exhale, inhale, open your chest. Exhale, sink into that back bend. Inhale, come up tall, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive it back down, forward fold. Plant your left hand as you inhale, open up with your right hand, take that twist. Exhale, let the right hand come down, plant it. Inhale, take the left hand up to the sky. And then exhale, let the left hand come down. We're going to do that one more time through here. So we inhale, half lift to monkey. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, grab your left wrist with your right hand. lean to the right. Inhale, come back to center, switch your hands, lean to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, come up tall, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive it back down into forward fold. Now, plant your right hand, plant your left hand, take your right hand up to the sky. Sorry, I'm messing it all up. Exhale, bring that right hand down. Inhale, left hand up to the sky. Take one more twist. And then exhale, let that left hand come down to the mat. All right, now from here, take your feet slightly wider, right? So they're at the edges of your mat. Your pinky toes are kind of on the edges of your mat. All right, and then we're gonna bend the knees. Send the hips back and down. I want you to take your hands, bring your left hand to your left knee, bring your right hand to your right knee. So lean into your knees, but then start to push your chest forward. Just hold here for a breath. And then from there, push all 4 quarters of both feet into the mat. Bring yourself all the way up. Sweep your arms overhead. This time you're just gonna press your palms together. And take a back bend, just like this. Push your hips forward, chest and gaze up. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, swan dive it all the way down into your forward fold. Now this time, from our forward fold, you're gonna keep your right foot forward. Take your left foot, step it way back behind you. Come to runner's lunge. Right now, what we're gonna do at the beginning, we're gonna drop towards that left knee to the ground, right? So you've got your right knee right over your right ankle. You want your left knee back behind your left hip, right? You don't want it right underneath there. You can always use a blanket or a towel underneath your left knee if it feels like uncomfortable with your left knee on the ground. Now take your right hand, bring it to the top of your right knee. Then take your left hand, put it on top of the right. Push yourself up into that kneeling crescent. Once you're all the way up, if it feels okay, release your hands and sweep them up to the sky. Right, now from here, we're gonna drop into cactus arms, just like we did the sun salutation. So your elbows can meet with your shoulders, palms facing the front of the room. Lean back here a little bit if it feels okay. Keep your right knee over your right ankle, right? Don't straighten that right leg. You wanna feel that pull in your hip flexors. And as you inhale, come back up, take your arms overhead. Now, as we exhale here, we're gonna drop down. You're gonna bring your right hand to the inside, left hand to the inside of the right knee, right hand up to the sky. So you're in this kneeling twisted lunge. From here, you're gonna tuck your right toes under, or left toes. Come up off your left knee. All right, so we're twisted to the right. Now drop your left heel, so your left toes point to the left. We're gonna come all the way up to sky archer. You push away from the mat with that left hand, rise up, let your hips turn towards the left side of the room, take your hands up to the sky, grab your right wrist with your left hand, pull to the back of the room, into your sky archer. So straighten out your right leg, right? Straight, straight, straight. Everybody straighten the right leg, right toes pointed towards the front of the room. So you feel just that big opening in your right side body. There we go. All right, now from here, release your hands, bend into your right knee, drop your right elbow to your right knee. Take that left hand straight up to the sky. All right, so we're here in the side angle. You're trying to keep your chest open toward the left side of the room. Your hips are still facing the left side of the room. Maybe you take that left hand and reach it up and over, right? So that your left fingertips are reaching towards the mirror. Now you don't want your chest to cave towards the ground. If that's happening when you reach over, then you just keep reaching straight up. All right, now from here, you're gonna push into that right foot, straighten out your right leg again, turn your right toes back towards the ball wall and take your hands up to the sky. Come to 5-pointed star. All right, so reaching, reaching, reaching. We're lengthening out the spine. I'm gonna turn sideways here, so I'm facing the camera, right? You all are gonna turn your heels in and your toes out, right? So you're making this diagonal with your feet. As you exhale, we're gonna drop down into goddess. So you bend your elbows, bend your knees, right? Let your knees track right along your ankles. Bring those arms back to cactus arms. Right, like there's a string on your tailbone pulling you down towards the mat. As you inhale, push, come back up tall, take your arms overhead, straighten your legs. We're gonna do that twice more, right? Exhale, drop it down to goddess. Inhale, bring it all the way up. One more time, drop it down to goddess. Bring it all the way up. Now this time as we come back up, right? Turn your left toes back towards the left side of the room. Turn your right toes back towards the top of your mat. right? Square your hips towards the top of your mat and bend into your right knee. So now you're in warrior one, right? Hips squared towards the top of the mat, arms reaching up high. Now from warrior one, right? Spin your pinky fingers in towards each other. Look up at them. Maybe you can reach those hands a little bit further back. Keep that bend in your knees. You're going to take your arms straight overhead again. Now keep the bend in your left knee. Just turn your left toe slightly towards the left, or right toe slightly towards the right side of the room, right? And then you're going to turn those left toes out. Now we're going to drop down, right? Just like we did in Goddess. But your hands are still to the sky, so turn both of the toes towards the left side of the room. Both of the toes towards the left side of the room, and then heels in, toes out. So it's like you're that Goddess where we were before, only your arms are straight up to the sky. Now here's what you're going to do here. You're going to take your arms out to a T, and then lean all the way forward. Push your hips back behind you. Chest comes parallel to the ground. Crown of the head goes towards that left wall. All right, just hold here. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to push all the way through the feet. We're going to rise back up, come back up to 5-pointed stars. When your fingertips reach high, your toes turn completely towards the left wall. All right, so one straight line, just lengthening out, making yourself as tall as you possibly can. Now from here, turn your right toes back towards the top of your mat. Bend back into your right knee. Come into your warrior two. So you're looking right over the middle finger on your right hand towards the mirrors. And there's a deep bend in your right knee. Make sure that right knee is going towards the pinky toe side of your foot. You don't want it to cave in towards your body. That's really bad for your knee. If you can see yourself in the mirror right now, your left hand should be disappearing behind you. Your shoulders are that stacked up. Now turn your right palm up to the sky. Scoop up with your right hand. Let your left hand either trail along your left thigh or wrap it around behind your back. You can look up at your right fingertips. You can look back over your left shoulder. Now cartwheel your hands around. They're going to land on either side of your right foot. Right, turn your left toes towards the front of the room. And then just step your left foot forward to meet your right. You're coming to forward fold at the top of your mat. All right, so we're going to do all that again on the other side. We're going to start with that camper's pose, which means we take our feet wide, right? Remember to the edge of the mat. Pinky toes line up with the edges of the mat, and then bend your knees, send your hips back and down. Take your left hand to your left knee, right hand to the right knee. Push your chest up and through. Just hold here for 2 breaths. Now push through the 4 corners of the feet, rise all the way up, sweep your hands up to the sky, palms come together, take a back bend here, push your hips forward, chest and gaze up. Inhale, stand tall, and then exhale, swan dive it down to forward fold. As we get here, you're going to keep your left foot forward on the top of your mat. Step your right foot way back behind you, so you're coming to that kneeling runner's lunge. Left knee right over the left ankle. You're going to drop your right knee. You want your right knee back behind your right hip. You need to pad underneath it with your blanket or a towel. Do that. Once everything's in place, you're going to rise up. You're going to take your left hand to your left knee. Take your right hand, put it on top. Push into your knee, draw yourself up. Once we're all the way up, now you take your hands, sweep them up to the sky. It's full kneeling crescent. Now, bend your elbows, open your chest. Lean back, right? Keep that left knee pushing forward. And like there's a board in front of it. Try to push past. And as you inhale, come back up. Now, as you exhale here, right hand's going to go on the inside of the left foot. Left hand's going to go up to the sky. So in this twist, by stacking your shoulders. Now while you're here, see if you can come off that right knee. Tuck your right toes under, lift that right knee up. So in a full twisted lunge. And then from here we come all the way to sky arches. So you're going to drop your right heel to the mat. So your right toes point to the right. Push away from the mat with your right hand. Let your left leg straighten. Don't move your feet. Just let your hips turn towards the right side of the room. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Pull towards the back of the room into your sky archer. So your left toes are still pointed to the top of your mat. Right toes are completely pointed to the right. Whole body is straight. And all that opening all along your left side body. All right, now release your hands here, bend back into your left knee. Drop your left elbow to your left knee. Take your right hand straight up to the sky. Now we're in our side angle. Right, you're trying to open your chest towards the right wall. If it feels okay, you can take those right fingertips, reach them towards the top of your mat. So your right biceps coming right over your right ear, but your chest still is open to the right side of the room, right? If it makes your right arm come in front of your face, or your chest cave towards the ground, then just keep that right arm straight up to the sky. All right, now from here, we're gonna come up, you're gonna push into that left leg, turn both of the toes towards the right wall, take your hands up to the sky. So you're back in 5-pointed star. Reaching up, lengthening out your spine. Turn your heels in, toes out, right? So let your feet come to that diagonal. And then we're coming to full goddess here. That means you bend your elbows, you bend your knees. Let your elbows come even with your shoulders. Let your knees track right along your ankles. So you're down here in this low goddess. This is our second time through, right? You're just facing a different side of the room this time. So maybe you can get a little lower. Drop that tailbone lower. And then as you inhale, come all the way up. Don't move your feet, just press your legs straight, right? Reach your hands up to the sky. Then as you exhale, you're gonna go right back down. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. Bring it all the way back up. All right, let's do that one more time. Bend your knees, drop your elbows. Push it all the way back up. All right, now this time, as we push all the way back up, turn your toes back towards the right side of the room. We're in full 5-pointed star, and we're gonna come to warrior one. So your left toes are gonna turn towards the front of the room. Let your hips turn towards the front of the room, and then put that bend in your left knee. Right, your right toes are still pointed to the right. Hands are reaching up high. Sometimes you have to adjust your back heel to really get those hips square to the front of the room. That's okay, do it, right? Next, spin your pinky fingers in towards each other, look up at your hands, and see if you can lean back just a little bit, keeping that bend in your left knee. Now come back up, bring your arms overhead. And now we're gonna try to come, right, into basically goddess legs here, but we're gonna keep our arms up to the sky, right? So you're gonna turn your right toes, or your left toes just slightly towards the right front corner of your mat. Turn your turn your right toes all the way out, and then bend and drop down with your knees. So you're back in that goddess position, but your arms are reaching up high. All right, now take your arms out to a T, and then lean forward. Bring your chest parallel to the ground, push your glutes back behind you. Front of your head is towards that right wall. Push up here, push through the four corners of the feet, come all the way back up. Turn both of the toes towards the right wall. Lengthen out in your 5-pointed star. Now turn your left toes back towards the top of your mat. Bend into your left knee. Your hips are still to the right wall. Right, take your arms out long right into warrior two. Look right over the middle finger on your left hand. Take deep bend in the left knee. Bring the left knee to the pinky toe side of your foot. Your heels should be mostly lined up with each other in warrior two, right? Maybe you have more of the left heel lined up with the arch of the right foot, if that feels better, but it shouldn't be too much further off than that, right? That's what makes this powerful warrior. You've got that strong stance. Now we're staying in the warrior stance. You're just gonna turn your left palm up to the sky. Scoop up with your left hand, let your right hand just trail along your right thigh. Maybe you wrap it behind your back. Keep bending into your left knee. Maybe you look up at your left fingertips, maybe your back over your right shoulder. Keep bending into that left knee, keep reaching back with those left fingertips. Create that space. Right now we're gonna cartwheel our hands all the way around here. Land on either side of your left foot. Turn your right toes forward, and then just step that right foot forward to meet the left. So you're back in forward fold at the top of your mat. All right, from here, you're gonna toggle your feet out wide against the edges of your mat. This time, turn your heels in and your toes out, right? Just like that goddess stance, but not as wide. And then you're gonna bend into your knees and drop your hips. Come down into your Malasana squat. All right, so Malasana looks like this. Now, you can take your block and sit down on it in your Malasana. Sometimes that makes it a lot more comfortable. Right? I want this to be comfortable, so I want you to make it comfortable for yourself. If you're at home and you don't have a block, or you're anywhere and it's not comfortable with or without a block, then you're gonna drop it all the way down to your glutes and bring the soles of your feet together and come to mount ankle, right? So I want it to be comfortable because I want you to close your eyes here and reconnect with your breath. Make sure you still have that full focus on your breath. Make sure you still have full control of your breath. If you lost either of those things, this is your chance to get it back. Slow your breaths again, lengthen them again, deepen them again. Let's take 3 more breaths here. From here, we're going to go into our core work. It's nice and gentle today, I promise, right? But you're going to drop down to your glutes if you're not already. Bend into your knees, put your feet on the ground. So you're in this hook line position. Looks like this. All right, I'm going to turn sideways so everybody can see what's going on here. All right, so your toes are at the top of your mat and knees are up to the sky. Take your hands, bring them back behind you. Ideally, you want to face here your fingertips towards your glutes, right? Maybe you need to face your hands out, especially for guys, right? Sometimes it's easier to face those fingertips out. Now what we're going to do here, you're going to press into your palms, you're going to press into your feet. You're going to lift your hips up off the mat. So you're taking your hips as close to even with your knees as you can get them, pressing those palms through the mat. Right, now as you exhale, you're going to let your hips come back down. As your hips tag the ground, right, lift your hands forward, lift your feet up off the ground, come into boat. Right, this could be your boat. Your boat could be here, grabbing behind your legs, right? If you really want to take it more intense, you can have your legs straight up to the sky and your hands straight up to the sky. So your version of boat. All right, from boat, then let your feet come back down to the mat. Sweep your hands back behind you again. Lift back up into your reverse table. Push those hips out. All right, so we're going to flow there a few times. So as you exhale, you let those hips come down. As you inhale, hands reach forward, feet go up, bring them into your version of boat. All right, from boat, let your feet come down, let your hands be behind you, push up into your reverse table. And we're going to do it 3 more times. Drop down, lift into boat. Feet, drop your hands, lift into reverse table. Drop your hips, lift into boat. The feet, sweep your hands back, lift into reverse table. All right, just one more time here. Drop down, come to boat. Drop your feet, sweep your hands back behind you, come to reverse table. This time from your reverse table, you're just going to let your hips come back down, right? And then keep your hands back behind you. You can take them out a little bit wider or a little bit closer or turn them around, whatever feels good to you. We're going to windshield wipe here. So try to do it today, just with your feet hip-width distance apart, right? So take your feet about hip-width distance apart, drop both feet over, or both knees, over to the right. So see how my left knee is kind of along my right shin? So sometimes when we do this, when we take the feet wider apart, it comes to the inside, but let it just come to the shin, right? We're not going to stay here. We're going to flow. You bring it back up and then drop your knees over to the left. And just go back and forth here a couple times. Now eventually, next time you go over to the left, just pull your knees back up, come back to center. All right, now from here, we're going to take this either into a pigeon or into a deer, right? So I'll talk you through both options. If you're going to come into pigeon, you're just going to bring your right foot over to the left edge of your mat, lean way over to the right so your right knee comes to the ground, and then shoot that left leg back behind you. Your right hip's going to come up off the mat, and you're going to push your left hip toward your right heel, right? So your hands are in front of your right shin. So you're up at first, and then you let yourself come down. So maybe you come down to your elbows. Some of you can probably come all the way down to your chest and your head. If you need to stay up on your palms, that's fine too. Now, if pigeon is too intense for you, you can always take it to deer. In deer, we just let that right hip stay on the ground. You bend that left knee, and just bring the left knee to the sole of the right foot and walk it out over your right shin there. That's an option. You should feel an intense stretch here in your right hip. As long as you feel that intense stretch, you're doing it right. You want to lean to the left, right? Don't lean to the right. Don't let that right hip come to the ground, right? Press that left hip towards your right heel. That's going to give you that stretch in the right hip. take 4 more breaths here. Now, from here, right, whether you're in pigeon or you're in deer, take your right hand, reach it forward, right? And then see if you can take your left hand and just slide it underneath your right armpit. Right now you're kind of leaning to the left. You're letting your head come down. You're looking to the right, looking over your right fingertips, or left fingertips to the right. Right, you can do this from deer. You're here. You just slide that hand under. And then you kind of let your head rest on the X from deer like this. So just reach your right hand forward. Slide your left hand under. He's like, yeah, okay. As much as you can. I'm not going to stay here as long, but take 3 more breaths here. All right, so from here, you're going to pull that right hand back in. Use it to push yourself up. Unthread the left arm. Now, once you get back up to your palms, I want you to lean to the right. Let that right hip come back down. Right, you're just going to bring yourself, you're going to face the left side of the room. Take both legs out super long, right? So we're here in this straddle position. And we're just going to take a basic wide forward fold, right? Because we're over here, right? Your heels can stay on the mat. You can move back, you can move forward. It gives you plenty of space, right? You're going to take your hands to the center if you want to use your block or use your blanket. You can have your hands on that. And you're just walking your hands out as far forward as you can, right? Just like when we did this fold from easy sit. You want to keep your back nice and flat, right? So your goal is not to get your head to come down to the mat. Your goal is to get your chest as far forward as you can. Sometimes if you use a block, right, it lets your hands go a little bit further, still keeping that connection with the earth, still allowing you to keep your back flat, but you don't have to use the block, right? You just bring your hands forward. What you want here is keep your knees and your toes pointed up to the sky. You don't have to fall out to the side. That takes the stretch out of it. You should feel this right in your inner thigh. As long as you feel that, you're doing this pose right. Take 4 more breaths here. Slowly start to bring it back up. All right, and now we're going to bring ourselves all the way around. We're just going to come into pigeon or deer on the other side. Right, so you swing your legs back around towards the front of the room. Take that left foot over to the right edge of your mat. Lean way over to the left so that your left knee comes to the ground, and then take your right leg. And you can take it to deer where your right knee is just against the sole of your left foot, or you can kick that right leg back all the way, right? Push your right hip down towards your left heel. So your left hip's way up off the mat here. You can stay on your palms, right? Or you can walk it out to your elbows or to your chest. Whatever your body allows for. For most of us, it's a little tighter on the left side. Because most of us are right side dominant. That makes our non-dominant hip, our left, feel a little bit tighter. So be aware of that. You don't have to look like what you look like in this pose on the other side. You want to feel the same thing you felt on the other side, but that might mean that you look different in the pose, and that's okay. You want to take, anytime we're in pigeon or any of these hip openers, you want to take it to your edge, that place where you're like, okay, I know I don't want to stay in this place all morning, but you're not someplace where you can't stay for the next 4 or 5 breaths. Fine line. Everybody has to find it in their own body. We're going to take 3 more breaths right here. Then we're going to add that thread here, right? So you're going to reach your left hand forward this time. Let your right arm go underneath your left armpit and then lay it down the right side of your head. You're just looking underneath your left armpit towards your right fingertips. Okay. You can do this from deer. And make a little X. Letting your head rest on the X. Take 4 more breaths here. And this time, as we come up, you're going to bend into your left elbow, put your left palm on the mat, right? Press into that left palm. So you can unthread that right arm. Back up to your palms. Now here, you're gonna let yourself fall over to your left hip. And then swing your legs around in front of you. Okay, come out of the house if you want, Kathy. It's okay. Oh my gosh. All right, so now your legs are just extended long in front of you, right? You're flexing your feet so the soles of your feet are towards the top of your mat. Okay, so we're gonna come with our legs together this time. So bring your legs all the way together. Right? Sweep your hands up to the sky. Turn your palms towards the front of the room. Now as you lean forward, keep your biceps by your ears as long as you can. Just bring your chest as far forward as you can. When your biceps aren't going to stay by your ears anymore, just let your hands relax all the way down to your legs. Maybe you're grabbing your toes. Maybe your hands are just on your ankle or your shin or your knee. It's all good. We're going to use our breath to get a little bit deeper into the pose from here. So as you inhale, think about lengthening your spine. Maybe that means you lift your chest up slightly. Then as you exhale, fold forward more deeply. Walk your hands a little bit further forward. When you do that a couple times, you inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold deeper. Helps your body get that extra millimeter into the pose than it naturally wanted to go. And that's where we really do the work in yoga, with those millimeters, right? Because if you never push your body any further into a pose than it naturally wants to go, you're not going to see any change in your flexibility. Right? But if we push our bodies too much further than they naturally want to go, we do more harm than good. We injure ourselves. So we got to work those millimeters, just push your body a little bit further. Once you're at your edge here, you're just relaxing into it. So maybe you manage to get your hands to your toes. Maybe your hands are still on your ankles. Maybe your hands are still on your knees, and that's as far forward as you can go. That's okay. I want you to feel this in your hamstrings, the back of your thighs, not in your low back. If your low back is screaming at you as you do this, it's taking on the work that we want our hamstrings to do. So if that's what's going on for you, you should put a little bend in your knees, or maybe lift your chest a little bit higher, right? Until you take it out of the low back and take it to the legs. Even if you bent your knees all the way, you look like this, right? You'd still be getting that stretch, that insertion point between your hamstring and your glute, right? And if your low back screams at you when you do this pose, that's really where you need the stretch the most anyway, right? So you don't have to look like me doing this pose. You don't have to look like anybody else here. You can find the version of it that's best for you. Let's take 3 more breaths. And then slowly peel all the way up. All right, now this time as we come all the way up, you're gonna bring your toes to the top of your mat again. So bend your knees, right? Bring your toes to the top of your mat since you're sitting in this split line. That means knees to the sky, feet on the ground, right? We're gonna take our arms out long, put your chin to your chest as you're looking at your belly. Now you're gonna round, let yourself round, and gently place yourself down on the mat. So we come down and we're laying all the way down on the mat. Now from here, right, before we go into our inversions, we're gonna do one more stretch. We're gonna come just to a reclining bound ankles. That means you're gonna bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides. You do whatever you want with your hands. Maybe they rest on your belly. Maybe they rest on at your sides. Maybe you take them out to that T position. Right? Maybe you want to take your hands and press onto your inner thighs and your knees and open those legs up a little bit more. Maybe you want to take your arms overhead and open your upper body up a little bit. Right? Just find what feels the best to you. Let yourself hang out right there. Most of this is a pose for the legs, right? You're going to feel it in every part of your legs. If If you want to feel more intensity in your legs, draw your heels closer to your body. And if you need to back it off, if you're feeling more than enough, then push your heels further away, make more of a diamond shape that backs it off a little bit. Again, you adjust for you. Find the place you want to settle. Let's just hang out here for the next minute or so. From here, you're going to bring your knees back together. Put your feet on the ground. Everybody's going to take their hands to their sides, palms face down. Walk your heels as close into your glutes as you can get them, right? You're getting them close enough that you feel your fingertips brush the back of your heels. So you don't get that close. It's okay. You're going to press into all four corners of both feet. Lift your hips up to the sky. Right, as you lift your hips up to the sky, if you want to, right, you can take a block, slide it underneath your hips. Let your hips rest in the block, make this a supported bridge. Okay? Or you can make it an unsupported bridge, where you just use the strength in your legs to keep pushing those hips up to the sky. Either way, you should tuck your shoulders at least slightly, so your chest puffs open. Right? If you're in an unsupported bridge and you want to make this more intense, you can work one entire shoulder, then the other underneath your body. Clasping your hands underneath your body, that pushes your hips even higher. Right? If you're in a supported bridge and you want to make this more intense, right, the way to do that is to take the block to a higher level, right? The block has 3 different levels. I've got it here on the middle level. Making my hips go a little bit higher than I'm used to. It's all good. If I wanted to take it gentler, I'd put it on the low level. I don't have the flexibility to get it to the high level as some people do, right? If you need that to feel anything, that's where you would go here. Right? And again, it's all just a matter of what your body needs. We're trying to increase the flexibility in the back here. So if you're in an unsupported bridge, you're doing that with the strength in your legs. Engaging your quads, glutes, hamstrings, using that strength in your legs to push your hips higher. If you're using the block, you're using the leverage of the block to push your hips higher. And all of that increases the flexibility of your back. So once you've settled in, let's take 4 more breaths here. Exhale. If you're in an unsupported bridge, you're going to let your hips float back down to the mat. Right? If you're in a supported bridge, you want to keep the block there for waterfall. You can keep it there. If you want your hips flat on the ground for waterfall, take the block out, let your hips come flat to the ground. Right? In waterfall, we take our feet straight up to the sky. Right? So both feet go straight up to the sky. You flex your feet like you're going to step on the ceiling. Right? So I'm in a basic waterfall here. My head, hips, and shoulders are all on the ground. If I wanted to take a supported waterfall, I'd lift my hips up, put that block underneath my hips, right? It just makes it slightly more intense because I've elevated my hips slightly here. So if you want to do that, you can, right? Maybe you want to make this really intense and you want to come to full shoulder stand. In full shoulder stand, you lift your hips up on your own. Put your hands to the small of your back so you're supporting yourself on your shoulders and your forearms. Now, if you're in shoulder stand, you got to make sure that your elbows point straight towards the front of the room. You're taking the body weight into your shoulder girdle, not into your elbow joint. If you're in shoulder stand, your feet become kind of half flexed, half pointed, like you're about to slip into a pair of high heels. Right? If you're staying in any version of waterfall, whether with the block or not, your feet stay fully flexed, like you're going to step up on the ceiling. Right? We're getting the blood to go from our feet, where it cools all day, back to our head and our heart when we need it more. So we're increasing our circulation. We're also naturally decreasing our blood pressure, and we're flooding the body with all sorts of anti-aging, anti-stress hormones. Lots of good things happen when we get a little bit upside down, so we need to do it at least once each class. Now when we're ready to come out of this, we're all going to come out of it the same way. Bend your knees, and then scrape right along your face and body. Slowly drop your feet back down to the mat. Right, let your feet come back down to the mat. If you still have a block in your hips, now you're going to lift your hips up, let your hips come to the ground. Everybody's hips are going to be flat on the mat. And we're going to come to our happy baby. In our happy baby, we take the feet up to the sky again. This time, they don't have to come right over your hips, right? Maybe they're a little bit in front of your hips. And then we separate our feet, maybe slightly, maybe a lot, that's up to you. You bend your knees, maybe slightly, maybe a lot. You're going to reach up to that same foot with the same hand. If you can't grab your foot, then you just grab your ankle, your shin, your knee, wherever you make that connection, it's good. But once you've made that connection, you're going to roll forward just slightly. You want to feel that sacrum, the low part of your back, press into the mat. Once you really feel that sacrum pressing into the mat, then you can rock from side to side. You're giving yourself a little spinal massage. It should feel good. If it doesn't feel good to do the rock, then don't do it. You can stay still. Maybe now that you're in the pose, you want to change your leg position. If you want to take your legs wider or straighter or bend them more or bring them in more, right? Do whatever feels good here. The happy baby should be the happy part of your practice. Make it happy. Find somewhere where it feels really delicious to you. Hang out there for just the next couple breaths. All right, now from here, take your knees, hug them all the way into your chest. We're going to take our final twist here. Right? So it's just like we did at the beginning. You're going to let your arms go out wide like wings in that T position. And as you exhale, drop your knees to the right. Take your chin and your gaze to the left. And this time we hold here for longer. So make sure you're keeping that left shoulder anchored. Don't let that left shoulder come up off the mat. If you want to make it deeper, you can take your right hand and press your knees closer to the earth. Or if you have enough space, maybe you extend your legs so that your toes go towards your right fingertips. Or you can just stay where you are. On your next inhale here, bring your knees back to center. And this time as we exhale, we're going to drop those knees to the left. Take our chin and our gaze to the right. So the same thing here, where you're keeping that right shoulder anchored. Maybe you're pressing down on your knees with your left hand or extending those toes towards your left fingertips. We always finish off with this twist just because it seals off our practice. Lets our bodies remember everything we did today. So next time we come practice yoga, we go everywhere a little bit easier. We're able to go everywhere a little bit deeper. As you inhale next, pull your knees back to center. Give them one final hug into your chest. Now let's start to set up for our final pose here, our Shavasana, right? So your traditional Shavasana, you're flat on your back. You extend your legs long, hands to the sides. If that's not comfortable to you, you don't have to stay there, right? You can bend your knees. You can butterfly your legs, like we did in reclining bounding. You can roll to your belly. You can roll to your side. Just find somewhere to be where you're perfectly comfortable, where you're going to be able to stay perfectly still. And most importantly, where your mind is going to be able to go perfectly quiet. If you're here in the studio and you have a towel, I'm going to spray your towel if you would like with the sea salt spray. It's a little rosemary, a little mint, 3 or 4 different kinds of citrus. Good for your Shavasana, help relax you, and it'll help you slightly energized so you don't fall asleep all the way. If you're at home, you have a towel, put it over your eyes. If not, just close your eyes. You don't have to control your breath anymore, right? Release your breath, let it go. Let your breath begin to guide you. At the same time you release that complete control of the breath. Keep your complete focus on your breath. Keep noticing your breath, keep observing your breath, paying attention to your breath. Let yourself follow your breath. You can master all that, releasing control of the breath, but keeping that full focus on it. Eventually your breath can guide you right to a place there's nothing left in your mind but you and your breath. And when you get there, that that's your true quiet of the mind. Now slowly start to come back into the room. You feel your fingers, your toes, feeling the increased sensation that comes with a quiet mind. If you want to here, you can take your arms overhead, do a nice full, deep body stretch. And from there, we're just going to roll over onto our right side in fetal position. Take a couple breaths right there, just reacclimate to our space, with the sights, the sounds, and we'll come back to you. Take as long as you need right here. And when you're ready, push yourself up to seated. I'll make you close here. We're just going to close with our two Bhamari breaths and then an Om. The Bhamari breath we inhale as we exhale, make the old humming sound in the back of the throat. And the Om is the universal syllable. It uses all parts of the throat, so it's good for us. You can join me in these breaths or you can just listen. But let's close our eyes here. We'll inhale together. Inhaling again. And then we'll inhale one final time and Om. Let your eyes drift open. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you, all of you, for sharing your energy, your practice with me this morning. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this morning. I'll be back on Wednesday night for some yens. You can come join me then. Liza will be here tomorrow morning for some Payo. And if you need more gentle, Heidi's here tomorrow night at 7 with more gentle. So come see her. Hope you'll have a great rest of your weekend.